Okay. Accordingly, it says we're there.
Oh, and we are. I see us.
All right. Well, guys, this is just the way it's gonna have to be.
It looks it looks a lot better. There has to be some way to do the things that you're trying to do.
Yeah, we'll
Just
we'll
not
figure it
in
out.
10
We'll figure it
minutes
out.
before we go live.
Well, I did think this through earlier today. This was not like let me just do this. I really did think it through. But I'm glad we're here. Hopefully Robin didn't leave us and the more folks
Well,
will show up.
Maradim
Oh,
says
hey,
it sounds a lot
Maradam.
better.
Yeah, computers and online stuff and online applications, and you try to get things to work together and you have multiple microphones and multiple cameras. It's ridiculous. I just want to be like have it work.
Hey, I mean,
Ah.
that's why I don't have all that stuff, is there's less things to break.
Yeah, I know.
Although I will say I'm not using it yet, which I don't know why, but Sunday did buy me a new external camera to like
Hmm.
clip onto my laptop. I just haven't used it yet, but it's in the plans, just not 10 minutes before we go live.
Well, you can't fault me for trying, right?
So before we like really get in here, let me just share. Whoa, what are we doing? Let me just share real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Just to remind everybody that Stephanie and I go away in the morning. Well, why we decided to do a stream tonight is beyond me. Because I have to, Stephanie doesn't have to, but I have to be up at the butt crack of dawn to like get in the car to try to meet Stephanie and our friend Anne Hermes at a historical society at like 1 p.m. tomorrow. There's some leeway in there though, in case I run into traffic. But anywho, yeah. But we're gonna be gone for 3 days, 4 days, some days, four. Yeah. And on Sunday, we're gonna attempt to stream from our Airbnb. Um, because we have some things we want to look at. Steph, don't forget to bring your overhead camera.
I have it
Um,
right here.
yeah, and talk about stuff that we're doing in Pennsylvania. So if you're around at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, we're gonna try to be here. If for some reason it doesn't work, check the social medias and there'll be a notice there. We won't leave you hanging, but just want to make sure we said those things. Okay. And Steph, you're gonna share first, right?
Yeah, and I did not grab any links tonight. I just got
Oh,
took
I
pictures because
have
I
one.
have a pile of stuff. And we left this open as to like what it was going to be. We just said tape measures. So
Mhm.
I thought at first I was like, I don't think I really have a whole lot. And but I guess I do. And I sort of I put everything into categories. So hopefully these are in the right order. Um, I can share my screen.
No, the reason I'm like, Steph, you need to share first is because I forgot to pull up my list.
All right. So there we go. Mm.
You got a whole mess there.
So these are the plastic ones.
Mhm.
Let's see. I don't know if I'm putting our cameras on the screen, but I don't know if it's actually showing us. So yeah, these are the plastic ones. And they're all pretty old. Um, there is, and I'll hold one up in a minute, but this one right here, I realize it didn't get a great picture of it. It's got the 59 inches right there.
Mhm.
This one I think is very old, and it's kind of icky, and I don't want to clean it because I don't know if that would destroy it or not.
Like it's
It
supposed to be yellow.
Well, it's not actually yellow, it's blue with the back, and the back of it is a used to be white.
Oh, here I am
Um,
thinking like, oh, was it supposed to be like a brownish color?
well, that's you can see the inside of it. But
Okay.
that piece that says 59 that's flipped over, that is actually blue, like a blue-gray color. Maybe my
Oh,
camera didn't
yeah, it
translate
looks
that
kind
very
of
well.
brownish to me.
But it feels like whatever it is a little bit different than like plastic coated tape measures you'd see today. So I don't know if it's just kind of an older one or if like the coating has gone funky. I'm not sure, but this one's an interesting one. But the rest of them are just, they're run of the mill. They don't look a whole lot different than, what you can go buy today at the fabric
Hmm.
store or, in the sewing department at Walmart or whatever. Um, what I did notice though, as I was kind of looking through all of them, so you're going to get some that you flip them over and they have centimeters,
Hmm.
or you flip them over and like if you started at, you're holding the end that says, 1, 2, 3, you flip it over, it starts with like, if it's a 60-inch ruler, it starts with 59, like it goes backwards. So no matter how you pick the tape measure up, that end has got a one on it on one side or the other. Um, but then there's others that are just, they don't have anything on the back, or they have the numbers on the back as well, but they're the same. So like you've got one right here and one right here. So if you pick it up and you're like, oh, I got the 59 on both sides, you have to flip the whole thing over. So it's interesting to me like how these manufacturers kind of decided things.
Hmm.
So
Martin said tackiness on plastic can sometimes be cleaned with white vinegar and hot water if you want to test that.
I will, but it's not sticky. It's not tacky. It's weird. It just feels weird. It's got like a weird pliability to it.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. So these are interesting because these are tailors, specifically tailors, tape measures. And all of them, sort of on the outside here, have like a little taggy kind of thing. It's like a little, I think they're all pressed board. Well, actually, no, the Carhartt one up here, this is Carhartt. This is not that old. Although I don't know how old the Carhartt brand is. But it's that one's plastic, but these other two, and I think I have a third one somewhere, but these are like like heavy pressed like cardboard kind of things. And I don't know, maybe somebody who's watching knows why they have this. My suspicion is, and as soon as I thought of this, I was like, that episode of Friends where the tail Chandler goes to Joey's tailor. You know
Oh,
what I'm talking
mhm,
about?
yeah. And he
He
does his
measures up one
inseam.
side, he moves everything over.
Yeah.
Moves to the other side. I'm like, ah. So I kind of wonder if that's what it's about, like getting up into somebody's inseam without your fingers. So here's
Uh,
one of them, and I'll
Robin just said that Carhartt was founded in 1889, and Marodim
shit,
said he cupped. There was definite cupping.
cuppage. Yes, there's definite cuppage. So hopefully my video is
So,
showing, but
so wait a minute. You think that that thing is meant to like bat stuff around when they're doing the ins?
no, just like, okay, imagine it's just to kind of get it up in there without
Oh,
going like,
okay.
if you have a regular tape measure, you're like up in
Your
there with your hand.
your brain told here I am thinking like, okay, so now we've got a bat to like move stuff, and you're just
Oh,
like,
I
no,
think
it's
it's just so that you can get this kind of up into the inseam and you're not like poking up
without
at somebody's like
without cupping.
undercarriage. Exactly. So that's my guess, but I don't know. There could be like some other like really specific reason why these little tabs. But I've seen a lot of tape measures like this. And this one, it's like what it feels like to me is two pieces of sort of thinnish fabric that have been bonded together with
Mhm.
like some kind of interfacing or something. It's an interesting kind of thing. And this is one of those ones where, and of course, you have to use this particular end of it. But this is one of those ones that's got, it's 59, 60 on the same side. So this is one of those tape measures would be like, I always pick up the wrong end. Um, So that's those. And then, oh, I took a picture. I thought this was funny. Scranton, PA,
Mm.
Lackawanna Pants Manufacturing. And that's another thing to mention that sometimes they are advertising pieces, and I only have a few that are like this. But this is one of the paper ones. And I was outside to get good lighting. And of course, the wind is blowing a little bit, and these things are rolling everywhere. But the whole back of this thing is an advertisement, and it says Fashion Frocks Inc., Cincinnati, Ohio, world's largest manufacturers of women's and children's dresses, sold only through our authorized sales representatives. And that takes up like almost the whole thing.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And this is a paper one. It's paper. And this is I don't know a whole lot about tape measures, but I'm kind of like, w- I'm assuming like the fabric ones or ribbon ones would have come first, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then like when did they start using these paper ones? These are all paper. With the exception of one, I think they all have that it's almost like a surged stitch along the side.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just to give the paper some strength. And in some cases it's because the rulers or the tape measure's been printed flat, folded, and then surged along that side. And I think that some of the fabric ones might be like that too. But I have quite a few of these paper ones. And you know, I think some of them might come out of like kind of cheap little sewing kits.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think some of them might be kind of meant to be like, giveaway sort of things. Go to IKEA. You get your little tape measure at IKEA.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. I always forget.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I have a couple of those because I'll inevitably forget, like, oh, I didn't bring a tape measure. So I'll grab one and tuck it in my purse and then forget about it and then get another one. Not like I go to IKEA that much, but
Not
this
like I ever
guy.
measure anything like
What
a
exactly?
furniture.
Exactly. I was actually proud of myself this week. I measured something. Gonna move some furniture around, and I measured something, and I was like, "Yes, it's gonna work." Never mind, I'd already made all the plans. I
It's
measured
it's
measured
it's a
later.
massive feeling of accomplishment when things are
It
going
re
to work out.
it really is. Okay, none of these are in the right order, so I'm just gonna have to skip ahead. Let me see if I can find him. Here he is. Okay. So I specifically bought this tape measure a long time ago, and it was because of the south of the border reference.
Mm-hmm.
South of the border is kind of like a rite of passage if you drive up and down 95 on the East Coast. South of the border is in South Carolina, just south of the North Carolina border, and it is a tourist trap. When I went when I was a kid, it was a lot more robust and people were there. As when I went as an adult, it was scary because it was like very dilapidated, not, I don't know. And of course, I haven't been there in probably 20 years. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it is like now, if it's even still open. But it's one of those things when you're driving down 95, you see it. And what the political incorrectness of it is huge. So that's one reason why I'm thinking maybe it's not around anymore. Because of
Mm-hmm.
course it's a little Mexican guy in a sombrero and a serape. And he's like, come, south of the border. Cheap stuff, cheap stuff. And it's basically like a truck stop kind of, but they would have all kinds of crazy souvenirs and stuff. And the point being like it's a destination to stop there because it's like, do you need to gas up? You need a place to stay for the night. You want to buy some souvenirs? Do you want to, have lunch? Like it's all this stuff there, all this crazy stuff. So it was kind of a fun memory as a kid going there with my parents. And so I bought this little guy. And what's really better about him is that the tape measure comes right out of his rear end.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
underneath his tail. It's not his tail, it's under his tail. So he's pooping the tape measure, and he might be one of my favorite things of all time. Um, Now I've seen these from other places. So this is the kind of thing I think you order them in bulk from some manufacturer somewhere, and then you would have like a sticker or a
mm-hmm.
decal. This looks like a water slide decal that they just put on there, and then this suddenly is south of the border. But it could also be some other, other destination. So, but he's probably my favorite for just the reason that he's got a tape measure coming out of his rear end. And I just love it. This little piggy comes from south of the border. My cat, this was a gift from my mom, and it also has the tail tape measure, but it's actual tail. It's not like it's coming out of its rear end. So,
It's not like
um,
pulling tinsel out of your pet.
no. Oh God. Oh my God, that is the worst when you have a cat, and that's why we never
We
put
had a
tinsel
we
on
had
our
a
tree.
dog that used to eat tinsel.
And you have to, ugh. But anyway, it's very cute. I'm pretty sure it's one of those made in Japan,
Hmm.
cute little things. And then let me skip that one real quick. Um, ah, well, we're gonna go totally out of order here. This I had thrown in a box. It is in terrible condition, but it is from Japan, and it's actually very cute. It's like a little wafer. It looks like a little I don't know, like a little fine saucer. And there it went. It's kind of in bad shape, but I just thought it was really cute. And then this, where is it? Um, this is vegetable ivory. It is I've never know how you say it, but I think it's like a tagua nut.
Kagawa?
Um, Tagua nut, yeah. And so I would assume they're pretty big. I've never seen one in its natural state, but this is carved and the bottom of it actually screws off. I keep forgetting my camera's over here. The bottom of it actually screws off so you can like see into there. There's nothing in there other than the mechanism.
Oh man, you're so lucky. That means like if there's something wrong, you can actually like get into the guts to like wind it or
Yes,
something.
yes, I thought about that. But it, I mean, I guess if you pulled it in through there, that would be helpful. But I think the reason why it comes off is because it's carved at two separate things. But it's kind of cool that it's like it's threaded in there. Anyway, and then this little stick is you manually um wind it back.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's fairly old. I don't know, like maybe late 1800s. I'm not
I
sure. I
I
really don't
I
know a lot.
feel like maybe. I don't think our some of our BFFs that would be like that date is blah are on right now, but
All right, I'm skipping that. Um, it also has some damage. There's a little broken piece here at the top, like this
hmm.
little, I don't know, it's like a little collar. It's broken on the side so that the little spindle kind of leans. Um, but I don't
You
know.
know what you know what's interesting is tape these tape measures that we're looking at are significantly smaller than ones we tend to go for today. Never ever when I'm measuring something, be it something small or something big, do I ever think to grab something this tiny?
I
I'm always
know.
grabbing this like mega honker of like a tape measure to measure something
Yes.
like 3 inches.
The big metal tape measure that came out of the heart, the
Yeah,
toolbox.
or
Yeah.
I actually grab like like a ruler we had in school to like measure something small. Like never am I think, can you imagine measuring a dress pattern like with this thing? Like they're really
I
cool and
know.
pretty and neat, but like they are not, in my opinion, very ergonomic to use and
No, and I would say that like just the long regular strip tape measures are probably the most useful in in the 20th century, like what we can relate to. But I don't know. I mean, I think that, as something that's older, 19th century, I don't know that they necessarily, I mean, they certainly would need to measure lengths of things. I feel like they'd use yardsticks for that. And then this would really be about measuring for small things, like, I don't know, like small things.
making homemade sewing tools.
There you go. Well, I'm thinking just like needlework things, like, you know, gauging things and that kind of stuff. I don't know. Um, yeah, it is difficult for me to imagine using some of these things to like measure, yardage or something like that.
Mardim says doll clothes.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking like, I don't know, I'm not a huge knitter, but I do know how to knit. And when you're gonna knit a sweater or something significant, you really do want to gauge, do your gauge. And that's what knitters would use little small things like this to measure their, you
I
know,
wish there was something out there about like the life of a small tape measure. Not just, it's usually always the history, right? But like the life. Like,
yeah. There's my kitty, Piggy. Ah, the squirrel.
oh my
This,
God,
isn't
that's
it terrifying?
awesome.
It's terrifying. Now he is celluloid,
Mhm.
and his
Has
little
someone
haunch
bashed
is,
in his leg?
yes, his haunch is dented. I think I might be able to pop it back out. There's a
Was he
hole.
was he in a car accident?
I don't know. I think somebody just squished him. But there's a hole in his tail, and I'm thinking maybe I can like stick something in there and pop that back out. Maybe I haven't tried yet. Because I don't want to ruin him. He's cute. He's also from Japan. He's a little Japanese guy. So, always the cute, weird, terrifying stuff, right? We've established
Cute,
that.
weird, and terrifying.
Yes. Now, this one is one of my favorites.
I love the end of the tape.
Yes, and this one is actually, I don't know that it's really necessarily for sewing, because it's a metal tape measure.
Oh.
Um, but the little leaf is so cute, and we saw this. I want to say it was at the Mid-Atlantic show. One of the vendors had one of these, and they had the complete one. There's a little stem, the apple stem. You're supposed to twist it. So like you pull this out, and then the little stem, you twist the stem to lock this. Well, whoever owned mine pushed the stem inside.
Oh.
So, but the stem is inside. I can't find any way to get it out, but that's, it's how that would work. It's very cute though. I could see like a teacher having this,
Yeah.
you know, like a little,
Yeah, to measure the hem length of your skirt. Yeah.
oh yeah.
In those good old days.
I want to say my mom said, they'd make you kneel like on your knees. And I think it was like when she was younger, it was your skirt had to touch the ground. And
Hmm.
then when mini skirts came into fashion, it could be no shorter than however wide a dollar bill is.
I just remember stories about my Aunt Pam having a really hard time and constantly getting sent home from school because she is really, really tall and she just has really long legs and they could never find skirts that it was
Yeah.
so hard to find skirts that fit her to the lengthwise and she was constantly sent home. And I don't think anyone in the household sewed at that time that could like make her own skirt, but anyhow.
Yeah, I actually have somewhat lengthy legs myself, and while I never faced that kind of thing in public school, I didn't really wear a lot of skirts, but I also have that problem. Like you sit down and like your skirt is like it just becomes non-existent. Right? It just hikes itself up. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I didn't mention this one. This is also one of those tailor's ones. Let's see.
The end of it
Yes.
almost looks like a buckle
Yeah.
claspy thing,
Yeah, like
like suspenders.
yeah, yeah. And I mean that is indeed what it is. And I think it's for like measuring like in the round, you can feed the
Mhm.
end through. I've seen things like this, modern things like this. Unfortunately, the one that I'm most familiar with is a weight loss measuring tape, where you wrap it around you and it gets through, through here, and it
Mhm.
gives you this really accurate, even, because it's hard to measure yourself. I don't know if any of you make clothes and you have, tried to do your measurements on your own to properly get your pattern sizing and stuff. It's hard. So something like this, you could feed it through around you and then kind of adjust it, to make sure it's parallel with, around your waist and parallel. And I think that's what this is. What is not helpful about it is you can see here that the one has been folded over. So you're technically starting an inch smaller than the tape. So you have
Hmm.
to like,
Yeah, that seems
yeah,
problematic.
yeah, you should be starting at 0. So the fact that you're starting at 1, you have to add, you have to adjust it as such. Um, okay.
Hmm.
Those are the plastic ones. I think I might have done all of them now.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I don't have any of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this.
Yeah, this thing that looks like it's meant to take your blood pressure.
Yes, I have shown this a number of times on my own stream. It is just such a strange thing to me. And I've talked to lots of people who are like, yeah, 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 my mom had one of those, or we tried that out when I was young and in home ec, and but it's such a weird thing. So basically what you see here, this is the product. There's this little bottle and it's attached to a little plastic thing, and there's a tube with a bulb on the end of it. And then over here you have a magnet. And so you're literally supposed to screw the steel plate into the wall and magnetize this thing there. And then you hang your tape measure to measure the skirt. And then you like turn in a circle while you're squeezing this bulb. And it's supposed to be like poofing chalk out of here. You fill that with chalk. And it's supposed to be poofing the chalk out in this line around the end of your skirt. It seems so complicated to me. And like I mean, people have said, yeah, it worked. It worked. In fact, I think my mom said when my mom worked in a fabric store when she was in high school, I think they had something like this, and she was like, yeah, yeah, it worked. But yeah, it's like you would be, I mean, you can see, whoops, this little flat thing is where the
Hmm.
chalk would come out when you're squeezing this bulb. And so, it's all based on the fact that, you've got all of this at a level that,
Interesting. It,
this
it
is
definitely
stuck to
looks
the
like a
wall.
medical device.
Yeah, it really does. So anyway, but I thought from the measurement standpoint, I mean, really sewing, tape measures, a lot of times it is for garment construction in many households. That's why they have it or had it. And this was just kind of an outcropping of that to me. So I thought that was a fun one to throw in there.
Hmm.
And that is the wine.
And also, Mardam said a while ago you were busy talking, but she mentioned that the IKEA tape measures are really coveted amongst some costumers, historical costumers.
Oh,
I
are
wasn't
they?
sure if you, yeah, yeah, paper tape measures from IKEA are a big deal in certain historical costuming communities. I have not personally heard that. Have you?
No, I hadn't. Why? What, do they not give them away anymore? Or it's been a while since I've been to IKEA.
I don't know because I don't I've never grabbed one when I've ever gone to IKEA. So
Is it because there's not IKEAs everywhere and they're nice to have? Like
are they good quality or something?
they're paper? They're kind of a slick paper.
Is there a reason you would want it to be a slick paper? She
Yeah, I
said
don't
the way
know.
they work.
Well, I mean, it could be it's got centimeters on one side and inches on the other, I think maybe.
Hmm.
I can't remember. And that I think I mentioned that, some of these, here's so this is the weird one, like the weird plastic one. It's just got like a weird, it's like, when chewing gum, like a stick of chewing gum gets
Mm-hmm.
warm and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of got that's what it feels like. But it's got, it goes up to 60 inches and then you flip it over. It's
Mm-hmm.
so you like that. That's good. You want that.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the ones where you pick it up and it's like, dang, I always get the wrong end of it. Um, this one of them. Yeah, this is one of them. Oh, it's because of the Taylor's one. I don't know. I have this huge, yeah, so this is one. So you got the one.
Yep.
That side also. That is useless because if you've got it coiled up wrong, it's a pain. It's such a pain. Um, but yeah, I had one or two in here that have centimeters on the other side. And I have so many questions, like i- is that a choice? Like is that just kind of a we're going to manufacture, as a company we're going to manufacture this tape measure and we're going to put centimeters on the other side, or we're going to do the flip-flopped 1 in 60, like I don't know. I'm who makes these decisions, you know?
I feel like certain decisions are made by people that have no business making these decisions.
Yeah.
Clearly not
But
people that are like sewing or using them. Robin said, I just saw that there's a 3D printable IKEA tape measure.
oh,
Wait, what?
so I'm wondering if we're maybe talking about something different because the ones I'm talking about are, I mean, literally, it's like they're hanging on like a little thing. I guess, right? Like the two IKEAs in my area, like, you enter and you kind of go up and there's like maybe the little food area and then you go into like the housing stuff, the
Hmm.
houseware stuff, the furniture.
Hmm.
And they're usually just hanging right there. So I don't know. I'm having a hard time picturing this. And I'm wondering if maybe there's something else that I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I don't know.
Well, Robin said the 3D printable ones are from IKEA hackers.
Those IKEA hacks.
Um, I I'm almost never in an IKEA because it's not very easy to get there, and I would have to go like during the week when there's no one there, so I just don't. But um yeah, Maradim sees a lot of buzz over the literal paper ones. I guess I'll have to pay attention the next time I go, or do a search for a YouTube video where one of the historical costumers is, doing a monologue about why they love them.
Yeah,
Because
I'll have
that's
to
news to me.
yeah, that is. And I mean, I used to be pretty heavy in the historical costuming community and
Yeah, at the moment I feel like I'm just there for the drama.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
I've never been into historical costuming, but I enjoy watching the content. So moving along, because
Yeah,
I
what you got?
have
What you got?
we're gonna have to Inception for just a second. Boom and boom. Okay.
Oh,
Was that fast? Okay.
yes, that was very fast.
All right.
Oh, the history and origin of the tape measure. Maybe my questions will be answered here.
So I did find in my looking around for stuff, don't judge my tabs. Those are my emotional support tabs. And they only look like that because I had to pull up a bunch for tonight. I'm lying, but I did find a couple of articles. They're short. Um, but what's interesting is that like when you're looking at things like history of the tape measure, it's got to go all the way back to everyone that's using a tape measure. Um, because like here we've got one of the first documented tape measures arrived on the scene in 1829. I'm actually surprised it's not older. And it was patented by James Chesterman. The first tape measure was made of steel, so obviously it's not necessarily what we're talking about.
Hmm.
And was made from the leftover wire that was used for hoop skirts.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the fad of hoop skirts lasted only about a decade, so Chesterman was left with flat wire that had no apparent use, and his stockpile of metal wire had to go somewhere. Luckily, the invention obviously had its uses, or else it would have disappeared. With the hoop skirt, just a few marks on his steel wire made a measuring chain that was useful in measuring and lighter than other options at the time. Then here we got a little one here. The tape measure underwent further change in 1868 with Alvin J. Fellows filed for a patent in the United States. The Fellows tape measure required some changes of the design to the Chesterman tape measure. So many changes that Fellows was able to argue that he had invented something new rather than improving on a design. The key innovation was that was added in 1868 was the spring action that allowed the measure to lock into place and allowed it to retract when the spring was released by a button. This would be the first appearance of the tape measure as we know it. And obviously this one here is looking pretty. I'm gonna show one of my collection that is going to remind you of this.
Okay.
And then we move into the big, see, now for me, again, the big honker here. This is usually what I'm
Yes.
grabbing because I have them to measure quilts. But I feel like this is always the go-to, and that locking mechanism is just perfection. Uh,
Well, and the thing is about metal tape measures like this are they are probably the more accurate ones, right? Because
well, yeah, they can't expand and
right,
stretch.
and yeah, and so much we talked about this when we did the 6-inch advertising rulers, and that
Mm-hmm.
fabric and plastic tape measures can stretch,
Mm-hmm.
and wooden ones can warp,
Mm-hmm.
and Yeah, so that this type of tape measure is probably the most.
Yeah. And it took us, like we've got, let's see, it's gained acceptance by the 1940s. It found its niche in construction, and that's when we start getting into this. So this was just it's just a tiny little quick history thing. Of course, any links will be in the description later. I have another just little history thing here. There's a magazine apparently called Collectors Weekly that I've
Oh,
never
that's a new
heard of.
one. Yeah, that's a
Look at
new one
all
to
this
me.
stuff on the side here. Sat
Oh,
iron, saws, scissors and shears, all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
Um, and it's loaded with vintage tape measures. Of course, there's all kind, be careful, Steph. This is not a good site for you because there's 75 advertisements on here from
Ah, geez.
um this one. So this has some of the same history here, like patent to the United States. We got 1868. What was I looking at?
While you're looking, Maradim suggests about the IKEA tape measure that possibly someone teaching a class at Costume College praised them and it caught fire. Yes, that would
Oh, that's
probably
true.
be because Costume College is like a QSG seminar, you know. Somebody is a guru about something and says, "Hey, this is what I use." Everybody goes and gets it.
So what's interesting is these two articles have conflicting dates. So in the first one we're looking at, we're putting the Chesterman stuff happening at 1829, and at this one it's putting it at 1842.
Oh, that's a discrepancy.
That is quite a discrepancy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that's interesting. Um, I don't remember. Let's see. So this is bringing in some other people here.
Oh, look, there's some little pigs.
Oh yeah.
Is it this? It kind of looks like it might be the same pig.
One of them definitely
Yeah,
looks
it's
like it.
really tiny on
But
my
that's
screen,
why,
but
remember,
yeah.
that's why I said this is not a good site for you. Um, but this has some other people coming into the game here. So this has the origins of what we now think of as modern spring tape measure goes back to December 6th, 1864, with William H. Bangs Jr. received a patent for the first spring return tape measure. That's someone different, which Nathaniel Brady and Walter Hubbard put into production shortly thereafter. This sounds very much to me like the Singer sewing
Yes, that is
machine.
exactly what I just thought. It's the
Um,
Elias Howe and Singer and who's
yeah,
the other one? The Wilcox and yes,
yeah,
yes.
Wilcox and Gibbs. Yeah, we've got a lot of guys all at once. So let's see. In 1868, Alvin J. Fellows. Yep. So we were talking about him in the last one in New Haven, Connecticut. Oh, interesting. He's not far. Received a patent for a similar device. Yep. So we're definitely getting into that kind of thing. Not long after, in 1871, the company Justice Rowe and Sons, based in Long Island, started producing inexpensive steel tape measures made with metal studs along lengths of wire. I wish they showed a
Hmm.
picture of that. Um, the patented
Metal studs along the wire. Hmm.
Rose electric reel was a bestseller, even though there was nothing electric about it.
It was electrifying how when you let go of it, it went right back in there.
Then in 1895, Rose started offering etched steel ribbon tape measures to keep up with its competitors. Then we have, it wasn't until the 20th century, though, that this retractable tape measure overtook the wooden folding carpenter's ruler. And then by
Okay.
1960, Justice Row Company was producing tape measures for other companies like Stanley, for whom they made 1,500 measures a day. And then
That's a
this
lot.
goes, yeah, how long is this? This goes into, oh, sewing. The appeal of tape measures as a tool is that it can be made a significant length and yet be carried in one's pocket. It can also measure curves and can wrap around corners and edges. So it is particularly useful in sewing. Measuring tapes used in sewing tend to be made of cloth, plastic, or fiber, while those intended for construction or carpentry are usually made of curved metal strip that remains straight when extended but can coil. Does this go into anything else? Oh,
This little piggy
advertisements.
advertised for the market.
Say again.
Marodem said this little piggy advertised for the market.
let's see, by the 20th century, sewing tape measures were offered in celluloid containers whose exteriors were painted with a wide variety of advertisements. These were used well into the 1920s when plastics like Bakelite and Catalin were introduced and are hugely popular with collectors today. Catalin, I haven't heard that.
I've never heard of that either. I don't know what that is.
The sewing tape measure container has long been a format for beautiful design, including figural shapes like animals, violins, and carriages. Oh, carriages, keep that in mind.
Mhm.
Each measure has a unique winding device. Some antique tape measure containers are made with precious metals or mother of pearl and feature delicately designed filigree meant to appeal to Victorian ladies of the late 1800s. Oh, and we know they loved that stuff. A few even have built-in clocks. Oh, I have seen one that's a clock. So I definitely think this article was better than the other one, but yes, I
So
will.
a built-in clock. So
Yeah,
like you know what time it is when you're measuring you can measure space and you're measuring time?
well, I think there was a lot of focus in multi-purpose tools. So I think you
Okay.
measure something and then you just like have a little clock just like sitting there while you're sewing so that you're paying attention while you've got your mirror on the other side amplifying all your light. And then you open up your little sewing etui and you can file your nails and buff them at the same time, you know. Anywho, moving on. So I always have to, before we look at my stuff here, I'm just gonna pull some stuff from the net. Look at
No.
this.
Look at that. Oh my goodness.
I told you I was gonna find, I said, remember carriages. You see these come up quite often in
It
eBay
looks like
searches.
Cinderella's carriage.
Yeah. So it's funny. I don't know that I would like necessarily call them super rare. I do see them often. They're very expensive though.
Yes.
Because it's a coronation coach and we're England in like 1910ish. You will see them in varying degrees of wear.
Mhm.
It's a cloth tape, so that can also be a nightmare. This one was one of the more moderately priced ones. I saw a few that were like 600. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean for a figural tape measure, and I'm assuming this is metal, right? It's made out
Yeah,
of yeah, it's brass. Yeah, I'm surprised that actually I mean, I can't afford a tape, $300 for a tape measure, but
let's
um
see if it pulls up some
oh, oh,
other.
oh, Mardim has some info for us. So Catalin is a brand name for a thermosetting polymer developed and trademarked in 1927 by the American Catalin Corporation of New York City, when the patent on Bakelite expired that year.
Hmm, that makes a lot of sense. So here's a couple more down here that are shinier. Like that one looks so, yeah.
Oh.
Now that is like the same one we were just looking at because you can see like the
Yeah,
figure
that's
guys and
must
stuff.
have been what it originally looked like. You'd have to
Mhm.
polish that brass up.
So let's see. This one says Royal Coronation Souvenir 1902 Coronation of King Edward. Not saying 2023 coronation. So is this one not? This one says an Edwardian tool, but it's the way they've listed this. It doesn't look vintage from the 1900s. And it says its materials, gilt brass metal, celluloid windows, and cloth tape. So is it just that we're talking it's made after the coach that they do the coronations in? Maybe
Yes, I
that's the,
think that's what I'm taking from it. It's
yeah.
the
I
same,
would totally
yeah.
word it differently though.
Yeah, it's that's very confusing the way they worded that. But
Mhm.
yes, it's the coach that it's
Yeah.
essentially the historical coach. Yeah, the same
Hmm.
coach used for all coronations, right, Mardum? Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
taking from that.
And $800. This is definitely like I guess I would say like a unicorn for me, but at a more reasonable price.
Yeah.
So yes,
They don't make stuff like this anymore.
of course not.
Like,
But could you
yeah, I'm
imagine actually measuring something with this?
oh no, this would be yeah, this would definitely be like a an on
This
the
is a,
shelf, look but
yeah,
don't touch.
it's a just for pretty. Does anything like open or I'm wondering if that's the spring at the bottom to retract it.
Maybe.
Um,
Although that little thing on the top there, that little on this,
Winder.
yeah, is that
Oh,
like a
so I
manual?
wonder if on the bottom maybe that locks it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just wondering, is that a manual winder up there, or is it like, is it a button or something that
Let's see.
triggers it?
I love this. This is extremely rare. Honey, it's not that rare. There's like 5 at least on eBay right now. Let's see. The tape measure is in the shape of a blah, blah, coordination. What makes this measure so remarkable is its excellent condition. Yeah, souvenir tapes. Most of them were used and enjoyed by their owners. Wear, oxidation. The body, let's see. The carriage is suspended over 4 movable wheels. The front, 2 footmen. Okay. Pulls out from the side of the carriage. It's marked in inches on one side and centimeters on the other. The tape is in excellent condition and includes original brass. The winder is located on the top of the carriage in the form of the cross sword and mace. It's in perfect working condition.
Yeah, that says to me that this is not this is not a spring retractable. This is you literally like
Yeah,
that
so that,
little
I wonder
mechanism
what
on the
that
top,
little
you twist
thing on
it.
the button is for, though. Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. So moving on, we have this lady. She is a lovely little celluloid lady. They're calling her a Southern Belle. I grabbed her because I actually have not seen a whole lot of figural ladies like this.
Yeah, I always stop and look when I see figural tape measures, the celluloid ones, because
Hmm.
like I mean, like my little squirrel, they're
Hmm.
easily damaged and I think they just don't survive. So,
Well, you can have this one for a cool $230.
and I know that sounds like a lot of money, but yeah, that's the going price for those.
Well,
And
and
like
I
really any of
feel
them.
like, and I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I have not seen a lot of these, so I feel like this is actually rarer than that carriage. Let's just see if, oh, here's some others. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
when because I've looked for these just to kind of, like what's out there. I think there's the ones that there's like the basket of flowers or basket of fruit. There's a little
Hmm.
ship kind of thing. There's
I love the
um
ship.
yeah, there's some animals, different animals, things like that. But there's a lot of one-offs that I've,
Hmm.
just come across on oh look, soft covers for hard times. Um yeah, and I mean, I can see that these things may have just been,
Well,
produced in small batches and,
or a lot just didn't survive because, like you said, they get damaged so easily.
mhm.
For anyone that wants to break into niche collecting, like more so than just the sewing tools, tape measures are a great way to start because I am showing you right now some really expensive stuff, but you can find very reasonable things. Like
Yeah, like
don't let these put you off.
my little squirrel didn't cost that much.
Well, like even look at this one. This
Oh, that
one
one's
is
neat.
on sale for 76. Antique sterling silver filigree and silk sewing tape. I've seen a few of these uh in the flesh. They're very pretty, very small, very small.
Yeah, look at
Um,
that little tiny crank on the top. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. But like look at all of that work in there. And then this kind of, I don't know if it's meant to, but this kind of looks like a cherub face right here.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see if
Huh.
this is, oh no, that's not better. Let me see if others. uh, Oh,
Yeah,
look, there's a
Margin.
pig where the tail is the thing.
Yes. Now, that one I have seen in some people's collections.
Look at this one.
Oh my gosh. It's like
It's a
a garden
garden
roller.
roller.
Hmm.
See, this is what I mean, y'all. You can really like fall down some weird rabbit holes. Okay, this claims that oh, the tape's down there. I'm like, where's the measure?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's very odd. Like
And
they'll make tape measures out of anything.
I feel like this top should be a pincushion. Is it? It says it's an Edwardian. Detail, blah, 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 deep blue fabric, holder and stand. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like that should be a pinkish. Anyhow, I've got one more here. First dibs. I don't know why everyone on First Dibs thinks that everything they have has been
It's
touched by
worth a
Jesus. Like,
zillion dollars. Yes.
but I had to show this because the price is just insane. But I will say, um, fish tape measures and sea life kind of things, they tend to be more expensive. I don't know why they're such a hot item. Um, but a lot of times, even if I see other kinds of fish, they tend to be more expensive. Not this kind of expensive. And apparently it's in someone's cart. How much you want to bet that's like the seller's like girlfriend?
Put it in your cart and make it look like people are clamoring for it.
Yeah, I don't know
This
what
is
it is.
sterling silver though. So, I
I
mean,
mean, I mean, it's still though, like,
do they have a measurement on it? Do they say how big it is? I
is
don't
this it?
see.
Oh wait, there we go. Height 4.34 inches. Width.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
wait, they're going
big.
up. They're going up. Yeah, I guess that's a good size. But
That thing
even
is
still,
big.
look. First dibs now. Have you seen they have this recommended price scale like Zillow on here that you can actually see, and the recommended is 566.
Well, I mean, and I don't know, just I have literally only used First Dibs to look at things. I've
Oh, me
never,
too.
ever, ever tried to buy anything off there, but I don't know. Can you make an offer? Like maybe that's
Yes,
helpful
yes.
to say
But
like,
even it's so funny that like First Dibs is telling you that the seller has this high. But yeah, no, you can make an offer.
oh yeah, okay.
So
There's a
Steph,
button
do me
there.
a favor, get in here and offer like $50.
Right. Actually, if it is sterling silver and if it's actually as big as they're saying it is, um,
Don't you
it
be on their side.
no, I'm not on their side because it's a fairly ugly tape measure. But I mean, I don't even know if I'd want it for $50, but it the sil the if and I mean if that's sterling, which I'm assuming it is supposed to be sterling, that's probably is worth that much because of the silver.
It says silver.
Yeah, I mean the question is it nickel silver? Is it sterling silver? Is it, the fact that it's hammered and it's got that patina, that looks like sterling to me. So
Shipping
who
arrives in
knows?
3 to 5 weeks from Vienna, Austria.
Oh,
Interesting,
well.
interesting. Okay. So now let's get into what I've got.
In the realm of expensive, $300 is still a reasonable expensive. I agree.
Yes, yes, that's a lot of money to spend on something this big. So, yeah, first we've got this is a very common tape measure. And most of these are my personal collection. There's a couple in here that are part of the shop. And these aren't even all of them. I just grabbed what I could quickly grab because, like I said, Steph and I are going away in the morning. Like, there's a lot of things to do. This is one of those made in Japan. Um, it's still like a fabric measure.
So are you
Uh,
showing this on the screen? Because I
Silent.
still see First Dibs.
Oh, really? Hold on. Did I not? I didn't grab the right thing. Thank you for telling me. Where did my? Wait, where did you go? Oh. Yeah, hold on. Oh, so many things. And there we go.
Ah, yeah, the basket that I was thinking of.
Yep.
Yep, that
Yep.
there it is.
Yeah. And it's funny, these come in like a lot, like a lot of different colors. Again, made in
Mhm.
Japan. It's celluloid. Um, this is a really good one to try and get your hands on because they are relatively can be inexpensive. And when I say that, I want to say like I think I paid maybe $20, maybe.
Oh, that's not too bad. I feel like every time I run across one of these, it's like 50 or 60. But
It can be, but
yeah.
you can find them they're not rare. I see them all the time. Whether or not a seller is selling them at what they consider rare price, and that's another story. Um, but this one's like super vibrant. Sometimes I see them like the colors worn off. Sometimes they have them there's no color. Um, and there's little made in Japan. But you can see like there's already the tape is already wearing on the sides there. And that's the bummer about this. I have another one that we're gonna see where the made in maybe is like super worn off, which is a bummer because like then you
Yeah,
can't.
in this little disc one that I showed that, just kind of cruddy little plastic, but the sides of it are so worn. And I think it's just that little thin tape they use and the sides of it just, from pulling it in and out
Hmm.
even just a little bit, it starts to
Yeah.
fray because it's not finished in any way.
Yeah, totally. This you just saw recently.
Yeah. And now that I'm looking at that, is that fabric or some
Yeah.
type of Okay, I didn't realize that. I don't know why I thought it was like I don't know, just like embossed or something.
Oh, I was gonna say I also have it's it feels like one of those mass produced kind of like needlepoint type things, like you would find on like a pillow, like really tight and everything. You if you were around when we did an unboxing recently, you would have saw this little guy who I got recently. Um, and was like, I don't know, is he gonna be part of the shop? Is he gonna live in my personal collection? I think for now he's living in my personal collection because he's just like too stinking cute with his little tongue hanging out there.
It
Now,
is really cute. It's a very cute dog.
and this guy, I tried to get a picture. You can't see it super well because it wouldn't focus, but this is Germany. I've got a couple here that have, I feel like ones that have a side like this, that are the smooth, like tin type side. I feel like they tend to be from Germany. And there's the back, nothing super fancy going on there. This lovely lady, um, I didn't notice. Yeah, I didn't notice any place she said she was from. Her tape is like a fabric that's been like painted. Did I pull her tape out? Yeah, it's that red
Yeah, and I
is
noticed
like
some of the
painted.
fabric ones I have, they're coated with something, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's like it's paint, like and it kind of flakes off a little easy. Other times it's almost like a not really rubbery, but kind of a plasticky kind of
Hmm. Like a
even though the
like an acrylic kind of paint.
yeah, some kind of and maybe it's not really even plasticky, it's just like I don't know. It's some kind of coating.
Hmm. Yeah, I got this one pretty inexpensively. I'm not sure this piping, I guess, around the edge here is like a metal. Um, obviously a cheap metal. But I got this lady for like $7, I think. And
Yeah, I
she
think that yeah, I feel like tape measures, I mean especially these little spring-loaded ones are
Mhm,
generally I never see them cost very much. And some of them have like such interesting imagery on them.
mhm. So this guy, he is a shop piece. If anybody likes this. Um, I don't have him sitting here with me. I just grabbed him at the last minute. But the reason I added this is because he's so many things besides a tape measure. So his tape measure's down here. He holds a thimble. He's also a pincushion. Um, and I was wondering when I was like thinking about what to include, I'm like, wow, there's so many things that have tape measures built into them.
Yes,
How
and
many of those things?
I didn't even grab mine. Like I was just thinking, "Oh my gosh, I have several things like that too."
Yep,
Like I
yep,
have the ubiquitous lion with the
yep.
the scissors make his
Well,
glasses and he's in
on
between.
my Instagram right now, I have a poodle that's a scissor holder and a tape measure, all that stuff. So this is Japan. Most of these I find tend to be Japan. They were really thinking about how to incorporate as much stuff as possible. This one's in like new condition because it still has the box. It just is missing the top of the box. But um, yeah, whenever you're considering like, ooh, I'm into this tape measure thing, like don't think they're always going to be tiny. Can you imagine these big things like your lion? Like, are you going to go over and be like, excuse me, your skirt looks like it's too short. Let me get out my lion and like, you know, 'cause
Right? I know. Yeah, at least
that
my
lion's
lion is
good
actually
size. Oh, you do you have it right there?
yeah, my lion is just right here. I don't know if I'm gonna show up, but yeah, I mean it comes out of just the side of him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean he's big enough that like
Yeah, you're like, let me pull out my lion and measure your skirt. Okay. So this little lady, this is the one that I said was going to remind you of that patent picture. Because it's just very simple, like this green with like this like it's
oh
not
yeah,
real
this
gold, work on the
hmm
top there. This has a cloth tape that is very worn. The spring action in it though, it's also, yeah, it's like an inch, really tiny. Um, but very elegant. And see, it wouldn't even, the camera like wouldn't even focus on it because it's like so worn.
Yeah,
But
that is, but I mean that's tiny, tiny. I mean, I'm looking, I always when I hear a measurement, I look at my, I have a cutting mat on my desk and I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, that's really tiny. An inch is
so
tiny.
this is the one too where the writing is worn. See right here?
hmm
I feel like it should say Germany because of that Y at the end,
Okay.
but it's so worn that I'm not sure. But yeah, I feel like Germany makes the most sense. But who knows if anyone has any guesses? I have not done like a reverse image search to see if another one just pops up and there it is. Um, Usually I feel like usually when Steph and I are taking pictures of things for these, we are flying by the seat of our pants to get it on here. It's not like time to like really like research, but now the photos are in my computer and I can research things if I want to. These are pretty common. You can find them pretty cheap. I do have one of these for the shop. This is another Japan pin cushion, and then you have the tape measure in the sad iron's rear end. I'm sorry, this one, wait, no, this is a coal iron. Um, they're just really cute and simple and but pretty inexpensive. I think the last one I sold for the shop might have been like 13 bucks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. These are vintage. They're not antique.
hmm
And just cute. And a decent size too. Like they're not tiny.
Yeah, 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 Robin just said the iron is adorable. Yeah, it is. And I honestly, I mean, I would rather vintage tape measures over, the some of the antique ones are beautiful. They're fascinating, but honestly, this cute stuff that comes out of Japan and sometimes I guess Europe are so adorable.
I don't discriminate. I want all of them. So, and of course, if you recently watched the unboxing, I did recently get these adorable kitties
I love the kitties.
that I just remembered at the last second and grabbed this photo again. It's the only photo I have of it, but I was just like, oh my God, the kitties, because I wasn't gonna go digging through a box to
Marodim also likes the iron, so Marodim and Robin can fight over it.
And then I've got this lady who is needlework. Um,
Oh,
I don't I don't know if it's a mass-produced situation. It it feels less mass-produced than our dog friend. Um, does this one? Okay, this one, yeah, clearly has a stamp on it that's Germany. And then this tape has so much coating on the fabric that yeah, I didn't really take a picture of that. It's bleeding through from one side to the other and is giving the feeling of leather.
oh, hmm.
Like that's how, like there's so much coating that you can't even really see the numbers very well on the side that's not coated.
Huh.
That's how much bleed through there was of that bad boy. And now this guy. So remember I said that water creatures tended
Yeah.
to, I spent a good amount of money on this measure.
This is from your collection, right?
Yep. Um, and the tape is, I feel like it's almost like a burlappy kind of fabric.
Huh.
So not as dainty as the other ones we've seen. Um, the numbers on it are, they're printed, but a little more of a I want to say like a primitive type printing. But a lot sturdier. And this one I couldn't see any place on it that said a country. Oh wait, maybe there is. I would need a magnifying glass.
Yeah,
Um,
this is pretty cool.
I
Robin's, this is cool too. Yeah. There's a clam, right? It's like a
yeah, I
clamshell.
feel like I would a clam or a mussel maybe. Um, I feel like I got this one for $50 to $60, which in my opinion is quite a lot for something so small. Because let's see, did I already show? Yeah, so it's 2.5 inches long.
Hmm.
You know, like it's a
Now, is the
good.
metal, it's like, is the metal, I mean, I guess like a pot metal or something, like
It's not sterling silver, that's for
not
sure.
for 50 or $60 now.
No,
But I'm just wondering if it's like, if it's nickel or, some kind of,
something cheap. I don't really see. You know much better than I do about how to tell.
yeah, I'd have to
I
see that
I
one.
would probably automatically think it's something like a tin, like not.
Is it heavy? Does it have some weight
No,
to it?
no,
Ah, okay.
no. It. You know what it feels like? It almost feels like a celluloid. So what kind of metal would be like a celluloid? But it's not celluloid.
Um, well, I mean, if it's something that if it's been like if it's an embossed item, then it's, it could be probably not aluminum based on the look of it, but yeah, I mean it could be like tin or
Yeah,
um yeah.
something like that. If we find one while we're out in Pennsylvania, you'll have to hold it and be like, "That's what that is."
Yeah,
Um,
Martin said maybe pewter, but I think pewter would have some weight to it.
yeah, it's got no weight to it at all. Um, yeah, aluminum something or other. But yeah, when you see these, they're not cheap, and I don't know why. There's another one that's a long fish that I see a lot. It's expensive.
That's
I
so
don't know.
interesting. It's like sea creatures. Like, what's the deal?
This one is probably my oldest, which and I don't know the date. It's just the way that it's made. So this one's like a stein,
Yeah,
um,
that's very cool.
that has figural representations on it that just kind of seem like daily life, like a daily life scene. It's repeated, so it's like the same image on both sides. Um, but the pull there is also like has some weight to it. I've never seen the measuring done like that, where it's like sits up on the side like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because even it's inches on one side and centimeters on the other. I didn't. You can see this on the centimeter this side, but on the inch side, see the one sits up
Hmm.
instead of,
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, going the other way.
Um, I want to say my vegetable ivory one is like that, isn't it? I have something that's like that. No, it's not like that. I know I've seen something or I have something that is like that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Now the thing that's a bummer is like there's no way to turn it back in. Oh wait, no.
So
Yeah,
the little thumb thing at the top, like that would open if it was a real stein, would open the stein. Like, is that just
that opens the
decorative?
sign.
It does actually open it?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
yep. So you can put a thimble in there and
Oh,
maybe like a little thing of thread. I was
very
I was
cool.
playing with the bottom for a sec, which does move. Um, if that's supposed to do anything, it feels like it's not catching anymore.
Yeah,
I
I
have
was gonna say I don't how would they have gotten that
Well,
back in there?
unless it was working on like with some kind of a spring. But I'm wondering if the
Hmm.
bottom is supposed to do something and it's just not catching because it does move.
Hmm.
But potentially, I would think that might mean it could come off to be investigated, but I'm not comfortable enough to like. tape measure
Yeah,
with art.
yeah, based on the price of things. I look at some of my stuff and I'm like, I know how much I paid for that. I'm not willing to like pull it all the way out to its end and find out.
And I believe this one was a good amount as well. So there's the top, and then there it is open.
Oh my goodness, how
Yep.
precious.
Yep. So you can literally, it didn't come with a thimble. I did try to put a thimble I had just sitting there in here, but that particular one was too big, so the lid wouldn't close. But yep, you can put stuff in there. And she's little teeny. Then we have my turtle. This
What does it
says
say on there?
pull my head, but not my leg. This turtle is part of a series, I guess, of tape measures. There's another one that I've seen that's a hat, like a top hat, that has sayings like this on them.
Interesting. I've
Yeah.
never seen those before.
I will say that they're not cheap, but they're not like ridiculous. I want to say maybe again like $50. Um, there's a little belly.
Oh my goodness, it's got the little striations like you'd see on an
Mm-hmm.
actual turtle,
Yeah, and he's 2 inches, and you pull his head.
but not his leg.
Yeah, but not his leg. I have seen the hat. I want to say there's also like maybe like a hand or something. Um, yeah.
I just thought of these and I don't think I would have shared them anyway because they're it's in a closed group but on Facebook, but there is somebody in the Antique Needlework Tools Facebook group that has a small collection. Apparently they're well known, very collectible. They're little ceramic heads that are tape measures, and like the
I
one
don't
that always
remember seeing
sticks in
that.
my they're kind of creepy. The one that really sticks in my mind is like it's a bald man and he's like rolling his eyes up like and he's got a fly on his head.
Huh.
I'm thinking like, oh, that's unfortunate. But you pull the fly, it's the tape measure.
Oh, I don't remember
They're
seeing that.
very, yeah, they're very strange.
Huh. Well, that concludes my tape measures. Um, and I don't know what I was just gonna say. But yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah, I
that's
figured
my lovely collection.
I figured that you would have figural things. That's why I dragged out all of these.
I do know recently that I had gotten like a silk tape measure that's free. It's not, but I couldn't find it. So, and it was one of those getting down to the wire. So I'm like, I can either get pictures of what I do have. Yeah, see, look how big that lion is.
Yeah, like stand still. I gotta measure you.
Yeah.
It's not helpful. That's why I'm like, this is just for like a small, quick measurement of something little that's right beside you, and you could.
Well, the other thing too is like with some of these tape measures, you have to hold both ends. That's one reason I also do really like today's, industrial measures because it's so heavy. If you pull it, it's not gonna like pull the whole thing with it. And again, that lock button. Gotta love
Oh,
that lock button. Yeah.
nice collections, nerds.
Yeah.
Hi, Druid.
We sure are some nerds, huh? And
Really
now
are.
tomorrow we're going away to do more nerd things.
We're going to do extremely nerdy things this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a museum heavy weekend.
Yeah. But I mean, on that note, I gotta go get ready to get up at the butt crack of dawn to meet your butt in Westchester at 1
Yep.
o'clock. So,
How many hours do you have to drive?
you know, it's so depending on so many things. Um, it's between like 5 and 6,
Okay.
depending on traffic, stopping, stuff like that. So, if I'm doing really good and I mean, we're coming out of construction period, but there is
Mhm.
that section in Pennsylvania, which I don't, well, you might have gone through it when you went to Terrytown, but they've been doing construction in this area of Pennsylvania. I forget exactly where it is, but I feel like they've been doing it for like 3 years. And it's through this area where they've been like blasting. I don't know if they're trying to add lanes or something in that area, but that area can be pretty backed up. Connecticut is often a nightmare.
Yes, anytime I hear people talking about driving around, the Northeast, New England, whatever, Connecticut is always like things are fine until you get to Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut can just be something else. I will say if I'm making good time, I can make it to Terrytown, which is where the Tappan Zee Bridge is, in 3 hours. And then after that, down to Westchester is like another like 2.5.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do you think the tiger is heavy so it can be placed and weighted so that the tape can be pulled away to measure? No, the tiger is
Mm-mm.
not heavy.
Yeah, he's very I mean,
Like
think about
ceramic.
yes, he's ceramic. Think about a child's piggy bank, like a little ceramic piggy bank. I mean, he's not heavy enough. Um, yeah. Oh, I get the scissors. Yeah, it's a shame.
If they
It would
had
be,
weighted it, then totally. But
yeah, if they had some, if down in here somewhere, like maybe the tape measure came out like from his back or something, and they could have put a weight down in there, but it's very cute. These are very ubiquitous, very easy to find.
yeah, I currently have a Japan poodle on my Instagram page. If you guys find those are fun. I did have that lion tiger guy not too long ago, but he sold.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes,
he's too
he's
big for
too
a
big
serious sewing
for.
box.
Yeah, he's a set it on the shelf.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think these things they're not particularly useful.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that these really were sold as just a novelty,
Yeah.
and I've seen lots of different things, and I just these things are just not useful.
Hmm.
I hate to say it, they're cute, but
Alrighty. I think that's gonna do
well,
it.
yep, sounds good.
So remember,
Well, Druid, you're gonna get a sewing box. We're gonna get you together. You're gonna we've been slowly working towards quilting and all that stuff. So yes, you will have a sewing box one day. We'll figure it out.
everybody remember that presumably on Sunday we're gonna stream from our Airbnb while we're away at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's gonna be a wild party.
It's gonna be something else. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your week, wonderful weekend. Remember, if you're a Cake TV person, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow. So I will be back on Monday. Bye.
Bye.